We're 3 years into the SmackDown vs. Raw games, and we're headed into the 4th game into the series. And so for the past 3 games, they have been absolutely cooking. Every game felt like an improvement from each other, and every game had its own charm. But now it's time for November 8th of 2007, where SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 released. This game was also released on Xbox 360, PS3, PS2, PSP, Wii, and the Nintendo DS. We're not going to get into this version because this version is genuinely cursed. And because of that, this became the best-selling combat sports game of all time. But that's just the little things in SVR 2008, and let's get to the meat and potatoes of this game. But again, we're talking about the soundtrack because once again, it is flames. This is still one of the best soundtracks next to 07. I know how to not get copyrighted, so here are all the songs. Feel free to use them and listen to them. And now we can talk about the menu screen, because this screen is pretty good to me. It shows pictures of the actual gameplay, because last year it showed videos of SmackDown and Raw. Now it shows gameplay. But I didn't get into the match types. This was the last game to have a buried alive match. This was also the first game to introduce the ECW Extreme Rules match. But I have no idea why they removed the special referee from SVR 07. But now we're going to be talking about the roster, and this is where it gets a bit controversial. They said it was featuring ECW, but there's only 8 people on the ECW roster. This also hurt GM mode, but we're gonna get to that later. They had to take RVD from the game, they had to take Kurt Angle from the game, but they also, for obvious reasons, had to remove Chris Benoit. And he was part of the reason why this game was halted. And the legends were stripped down too. For some reason, there are exclusives, like Eddie Guerrero is an exclusive to the PSP version for some reason. But this also marked the return of Jeff Hardy in a WWE game. And this was a big deal since he was gone from Shut Your Mouth and he was finally back in WWE at the time. He was also back in the WWE games. But that's all I have to say for the roster, and now we get into the graphics and gameplay. First off, the graphics still look amazing, as usual, just like 07. But maybe it's just me, but the graphics look a little bit darker than 07. And the lighting looks a bit off. Like there's no placement where the light is coming from. It's just like these highlighted ring mat with no real lighting placement. So the gameplay is slowed down from 07. But it isn't that slowed down. But it's slowed down enough that you can tell. But there was another addition to the gameplay that kinda messed it up. It was the fighting style. I think they were trying to make characteristics for wrestlers and try to differentiate them, but it kinda messed up the move sets. If you choose like a high flyer or a powerhouse, your move set is gonna be very limited because you chose that type of fighting style. And eventually you're gonna keep doing the same moves over and over. So the first fighting style we're gonna talk about is the powerhouse. You're gonna do a lot of devastating moves, more bone-crunching, powerful moves. And then you activate Rampage mode, where you just go Hulk mode. Once somebody strikes you, you're not even phased, and you just body people, you just destroy them. What did that SmackDown vs. Raw song say? Crush, kill, destroy them. And then there's high flyers, which is high flyers. You can dodge by flipping over, which is very funny to me. And you can just do crazy moves and just dive wherever you want. Next is Frosty the Showman. Yeah, they want to put on a show. Showmen basically steal your taunts, your moves, and even your finisher moves. But that's all I have to say for the Showman. And then we have Dirty Wrestlers, which have been in the game since the first SmackDown vs. Raw. But there are new features with the Dirty Wrestlers. So now the Dirty Wrestlers run the referee into you. When they reverse, they low blow you, and they do dirty move after dirty move, just being a little boy. Brawlers are ground pounders like Undertaker and John Cena. They just beat you down. They just punch you until you're knocked out. And then they activate their punching phase, and they will reverse anything you do. Reverse every single thing you do. And finally, hardcore wrestlers. Hardcore wrestlers are the craziest out of all of them, because if you make them bleed, their momentum goes crazy, and they activate hardcore resurrection, so they hit themselves with the chair multiple times to make themselves bleed and gain momentum. But after all of those features, the gameplay is still good. It may not be as good as 07 or 06's, but it's still a good game to play. But now we get into the game modes to see how good those are. First off is 24/7 mode. You're in an empty WrestleMania arena with Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon tells you about how you could be a legend one day and talks about ECW randomly. He talks about the all-time greats in WrestleMania and tells you how you could be that one day. 24/7 mode is basically GM mode and season mode combined to make one. I like that you can focus on your health to see if you're injured or not. That was another thing that came from GM modes. The fatigue levels. If you have too much fatigue, you'll probably get injured. There are injury frequency levels to see how frequent you get injured. And there's also the Power 25, which was also in GM mode too. And you can have cutscenes too, so you can actually control your player. It's literally GM mode, but you're the player. So this game's story mode looked bright. But we gotta talk about the other side of this game, which is not so good. One thing about the cutscenes in this game is that they get repeated sometimes. Like, for example, this cutscene can get repeated a lot of times. Like, for example, either you keep getting in interviews and something else happens and stuff like that, or you just go backstage to shake someone's hand or something. That's basically 24/7 mode in a nutshell. I mean, like I said earlier in the video, the Chris Benoit thing kinda ruined the game. So I don't blame them for this 24/7 mode and why it was kinda rushed. Because the Chris Benoit thing, again, it's kinda messed up the game. But that doesn't make me think the game isn't good. It's still a good game. You should still play it. Now we gotta go into GM mode. And like I said in the video earlier, this game's roster halted GM mode. ECW and it being a smaller roster messed up this iteration of GM mode. If they did the roster right, it would have been a perfect GM mode. Now if you want to do multi-man matches, it's harder for you to do it because if you want to have 6 matches on the card, then if you do like 2 multi-man matches, it would be only like 4 matches on the card because of how small the roster is. Because for your wrestlers, you could do like training, special events, etc. But it was that roster that messed it up. There's another game mode called Hall of Fame mode, of the Hall of Fame modes and the Hall of Fame modes. I think Hall of Fame mode was very good in this game. You can replay matches from older WrestleManias. You can do special quest matches and some fantasy booked matches. You can even create your own championship and defend it against anyone to raise its prestige levels. Dare I say, this is a great mode. In my opinion, it's the best mode out of all of the modes in this game. We can talk about the create mode. Create a wrestler keeps getting better and better. Create a championship is still there. Create an entrance is an improvement because now you can add custom music to your entrances. Tournaments are back in the game. They even have cheat codes in the game, which was the first game to have it as like an actual feature. But that's all I have to say about SVR 2008. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Get back, Charisma Kid!